Hey guys, how are you? It is great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. So wonderful for everyone here. Thank you so much for joining me. Really great to be with you. I really do appreciate it so very, very much. And so thank you so much for being here. Really, really do appreciate that more than you could ever imagine. So, very grateful. Again, thanks so much for being here on Inspirations for Your Life. It is always such a great thing when you guys join me here on Inspirations for Your Life. I just really want to say thank you for you guys taking the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I just want to say thank you. All right. So we are wrapping up our week, guys. We're wrapping up our week with some very powerful stuff here. And this whole week, we've been talking about something that I think a lot of people miss. And that is the concept of, yes, you know what that is, living with purpose, standing strong, leading with heart. Yes, 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 yes. And the granular for today is gratitude connects us with purpose. Now, not like yesterday we talked about gratitude. This is how it connects us with purpose. A little bit different. So, welcome everyone. Feel free to head over to your wonderful kitchen, get yourself something delicious, something hot, something cold, maybe something sweet, something tart. That's totally up to you. And head on back because we're going to kick off this show right now. Are you ready? I know I am. And I hope that you guys will gain some information from this great show here. And I hope that you'll be able to learn from it. Okay. It definitely is something that I feel a lot of you will definitely gain something from. Um, and get you to become a better version of yourself. Well, welcome back. Today is Friday, May 9th. Welcome back to another soul stirring episode of Inspirations for Your Life. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, not only a podcast coach, but also a podcast host. And it is a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you here, also as a serial entrepreneur. And today I'm diving into something deceptively simple, yet deeply transformative: gratitude. Most people associate gratitude with a simple thank you. When life is good, both true, gratitude is much more. It's a mindset, a lens through which you see the world. It has the power to shift pressure into peace, stress into strength, and chaos into clarity. Whether you're thriving or simply surviving, gratitude is your anchor, your fuel, and your compass. In this episode, we'll go beyond surface level thankfulness and explore how gratitude, when practiced intentionally, can rewire thinking, improve your decision making, and align your life with your deeper purpose. So let's explore this together: the 10 powerful ways gratitude reshapes your journey. Do you have that beverage or that snack from the kitchen? Well, I hope you do. If you do, then why not head on back so we can kick off the show? All right, everyone. So, number one is this: gratitude turns pressure into perspective. Gratitude turns pressure into perspective. We all face pressure, deadlines, and expectations, and those moments when everything feels overwhelming. But when we learn to lean into gratitude, we change the story. We tell ourselves about the pressure. Um, Instead of seeing it as something negative, we can see it as a sign that we're in motion, striving, stretching, and growing. Gratitude reminds us that pressure often means progress. It helps us zoom out and asks, what is this teaching me? Or what opportunity is hiding inside this tension? With this lens, pressure becomes a perspective shift, not a burden. Gratitude gives us the emotional and mental distance to process what's happening with more wisdom and, of course, less panic. I know a lot of people panic. They're just kind of born to panic. I think that's just something that this sort of happens. I don't know why, but people just go into this like fight or flight mode and they just don't know gratitude clears space for joy, everyone. Our minds can get cluttered by worry, comparison, or endless to do lists, but gratitude acts like an emotional spring cleaning. It gently removes the noise of the lack and makes space for joy to enter. When you stop to feel thankful for what you do have, you automatically focus less on what you lack. This creates emotional room to feel genuine joy, joy that isn't tied to external circumstances, but rooted in simple moments where a smile from a friend, a beautiful sunset, the feel of a dog or shake of a hand, the comfort of your favorite tea, the enjoyment of just being still. The practice of gratitude opens a channel in your heart where joy can freely flow, not as a rare surprise, but as a natural outcome of awareness. Number three, gratitude amplifies our self worth. Self worth doesn't just come from achievements, folks. It's deeply tied to how we speak to ourselves. When you practice gratitude regularly, especially directed inward, you begin to appreciate your own journey, the choices you made, the hurdles you overcame, and the growth you've experienced. Gratitude lets you acknowledge the value of your efforts. Even when the world doesn't notice, it builds an internal mirror that reflects back not only your struggles, but your strengths. So instead of constantly measuring yourself against others, you learn to stand in quiet appreciation of your uniqueness and your worth. And I think a lot of people in our world just don't get that. They're so hung up with more than just the moment, they're hung up with everything else. And that's a very, very big problem. Problem that maybe you didn't think existed, but a problem that exists for so many people in our world. Gratitude rewires your reaction to stress. I love this one. Your brain is a powerful and really unique set of aspirations and opportunities. And when you deploy gratitude, it's one of the best tools to rewire it for resilience. Scientifically, consistent gratitude practice has been shown to reduce cortisol levels and the stress hormone and increase dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals tied to happiness and being calm. But beyond science, there's a real world effect when you're thankful. You're less reactive and more reflective instead of spiraling into worst case scenarios or negative self talk. You pause, you breathe, you ask, what's still good right now? And what can I learn from this? Gratitude gives you space between stimulus and response. And that space is where growth lives. There were a lot of people that talked about meditation and talked about growing our lives. And they talked about something very interesting that I want to share with you. And that's focusing on the space that exists outside you. And when we can learn to focus on that space, life changes. It really does change. Number five, gratitude helps you stay present. So many of us live either in the regret of the past or the anxiety of the future, but the present, that's where life actually happens. Gratitude brings you back to the now. It invites you to notice the warmth of your blanket, the taste of your lunch, the sound of birds outside your window. By grounding yourself in appreciation, you become more mindful and more centered. The present moment becomes more vibrant, more fulfilling, and more sacred. You stop chasing the next and start honoring the now. And I think that's something that a lot of people out here miss. They don't realize that they can do that. But you can understand this when you learn what the now is. The now is something I feel that most people just don't get. They don't understand why something is a certain way. And I think that's something that maybe people just don't realize. They don't understand that there is so much power in their brain, but they shut it down when they act with disbelief. I think that's really, really important. So, number six, guys, gratitude reinforces positive identity. Every time you express gratitude, whether it's in a journal, in a prayer, or out loud to someone else, you're shaping the story you tell yourself about who you are. Over time, that story becomes your identity. You go from someone who tries to be grateful to someone who is grateful. That identity shift is powerful. It not only affects how you show up in the world, but also how others experience you. Gratitude becomes a core value, a lens through which you engage with challenges, relationships, and decisions. You become someone rooted in appreciation. And that foundation supports a strong, authentic sense of self. That's pretty powerful. Gratitude improves decision making. When you're overwhelmed, your choices can become impulsive or fear based. Gratitude brings clarity and emotional regulation. It helps you see what truly matters, your values, your priorities, your long term goals. So don't just react, you respond with intention. Decisions made from a place of thankfulness are usually more aligned with your authentic path. Gratitude puts you in a state of enoughness. So you're not scrambling or chasing for things from this place, or knowing that your choices are bad, but they're actually wiser, more heart centered, and ultimately more fulfilling. I think most people I talk to don't realize that they need to have gratitude, that they need to understand what a choice is, that they need to feel what their life is about. Number eight, gratitude invites more aligned opportunities. There's nothing like this and saying, energy flows where attention goes. I say that all the time. Energy flows where your attention goes. So wherever your attention goes, that's where your energy is going to flow. Wherever your attention goes, that's where the energy is going to flow. Gratitude shifts your attention to what's working, what feels good, what brings value. This opens your mind and heart to receive more of the same. When you're grateful, you vibrate at a different frequency. People notice you become a magnet for aligned relationships, ideas, and openings because you're focused on abundance rather than scarcity. It's not magic, it's a mindset. Gratitude helps you tune into opportunities that match your values and passions instead of settling for what's available in survival mode. I always say to people, do you want to survive or do you want to thrive? And most people I talk to, they want to thrive, but they get so hung up with, oh my gosh, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I think that's something that you can change if, that is, if you believe you can change. Okay. Um, and so changing is something that I believe everyone can do. Okay. And so when you know that you're not happy with what's going on in your life, you need to embrace where you are at the current moment. Maybe you're not at the financial level you want to be at. Maybe you're not in the relationship you want to be at. Maybe you're not in the home you want to be at. Maybe you're not at the educational level you want to be at. That's okay. Just be grateful for where you are now. Okay. And celebrate that. That's important. All right. Number nine, gratitude, ladies and gentlemen, builds consistency in our character. Who are you when no one is watching? Gratitude, when practiced daily, helps you become more grounded, more consistent, and more trustworthy, not just to others, but to yourself. It's easy to be grateful when things go well, but true character is built in the hard moments. Practicing gratitude, even when life feels unfair, fosters humility, grace, and strength. It makes you the kind of person people look for when there's calmness and also gaining a perspective. Over time, it becomes a cornerstone of your character, not just a fleeting emotion. I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to get good cards, you're going to get bad cards, you're going to get mediocre cards. It's not the cards that you get, folks. It's how you choose to apply them, how you choose to respond, how you choose to react. I think that's a very important thing for a lot of people. How do you choose that? I think that's important. Does that make sense, everyone? And I think if you understand that life is about your thoughts, right? Wherever our thoughts go, that's where the energy is going to flow. Wherever our energy flows, that's where the thoughts are going. So wherever our thoughts are going, that's where energy is going to flow. That's what's going to be getting us where we want to be in life. But I know sometimes, it gets hard for people. I get that, right? So gratitude, it helps us honor the process, not just the result. We live in a very KPI world, key performance index and results driven world, where success is often measured by the outcomes. But gratitude shifts your focus from getting there to appreciating where you are. It teaches you to fall in love with the process, the messy, the imperfect, the beautiful journey, whether you're learning a new skill, building a business, healing from heartbreak, or navigating change. Gratitude reminds you that the growth you gain along the way is just as important as the goal. It teaches patience, presence, and peace with the unfolding. But I know a lot of people, they get discouraged because of the moment. They feel that they can't do anymore. It's not that they can't. Uh, they just feel that life isn't what they want anymore. And I think that happens because they are just so, let's say, stressed about where and how they want to be. And I know that a lot of you don't realize that, but I want to tell you that it's important to understand. Okay. Um, and I'll tell you that life happens when you really embrace things. Okay. You embrace things and then your life starts to change. But embracing life is not always comfortable. So I always said you have to practice, ladies and gentlemen, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. I think that's what I've said before. I've said that many, many times, right? But I know that many of you get impatient. I know that many of you want, everything today. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't all happen today. So what I want to do now is I want to give you some personal lessons or stories from each of these points that I have shared today, and it's my hope that they will inspire you and solidify what I've taught you today. And hopefully, by just hearing some of the things I've gone through, it might not only inspire you, but get you to actually take some action, right? It's one thing when you can hear people say things all day long, right? But it's another thing when you can truly take those stories and in one breath, guys, you can make those stories your life, right? You can make those stories your life. Now, I know that sounds like something that is so far fetched, but it absolutely is doable. So let's move on with these points. Okay. So, number one, gratitude turns pressure into perspective. I remember a time early in my entrepreneurial journey when I was juggling multiple clients, trying to meet impossible deadlines and barely sleeping. It felt like the walls were closing in, burning the candle at both ends, right? I felt like those walls closing in just were getting tighter and tighter by the moment. But then I paused and I started listening to what I was grateful for: the trust of those clients that they had in me, the opportunity to do the work I loved, the lessons I was learning under the fire. That simple shift didn't remove the pressure, but it helped me see it as a privilege, not a punishment. Gratitude gave me the clarity to rise above chaos and move forward with a strong purpose. Number two, gratitude clears space for joy. There was a weekend I'll never forget. Plans had fell through. My schedule was empty. And my instinct was to feel frustrated. But instead, I sat outside with my hot cup of chocolate, watching the sunrise, and just felt thankful for the stillness. That day, joy showed up, not because anything flashy happened, but because I created space for it by appreciating what was already there. That moment taught me that joy isn't earned through busyness, it blooms in simplicity. When gratitude clears the clutter, that's when it magically rears its head. Number three, gratitude amplifies our self worth. But I think so many people get stuck in the fact that self worth is not anything glitzy, it's actually a truth, it's a core value. As someone who strives to achieve and grow, I used to chase external validation all the time: a bigger deal, more likes, more acknowledgement. But gratitude turned that around. I started journaling things I appreciate about myself, not in bragging, but in a real reflective way, like how I handled a tough client with grace or how I didn't give up on a personal project. That daily practice instead of routines reminded me I had value every day, more than I ever imagined. Even when the world was so silent, gratitude became my inner applause, and it could become yours too. Just start to embrace it. Number four, gratitude will rewire reaction to stress. All right. And so this is important. Um, One evening, after a project went off the path, my first instinct was to panic. But instead of spiraling, I took a breath and asked, what's going on that's good right now? What can I learn from this? I focused on that fact. I had a team willing to pivot, clients who trusted my integrity. That mindset gave me an inner sense of calmness amidst the storm that was brewing outside. It didn't erase the challenges, but gratitude turned a meltdown into a mission that was quite enjoyable. I solved it from a place of peace, not of pressure. And I think when we can learn to come from a piece of pleasure and come from gratitude, our life changes basically overnight. Gratitude, ladies and gentlemen, helps you stay present. I used to eat lunch at my desk, plowing through emails and calls, but one day I decided to take 15 minutes and just eat. I noticed the flavors, the textures, the silence. I thanked the moment, the meal, and the break. I even started saying grace before every meal, even before every snack. Now, sometimes I miss, but it's always my goal to do that. That small act grounded me in the now. Ever since then, I've made a habit of doing one thing each day, being fully present, fully grateful. It's like giving yourself a spiritual reset button. That's important. Number six, gratitude reinforces positive identity. When I started referring to myself as someone who lives with gratitude, not just someone who's trying to be positive, it changed how I saw everything. I thanked my team more, often acknowledged small wins, and paused to appreciate things I used to just overlook. The more I practiced, the more it became part of who I am. It wasn't an act anymore, it was an alignment of my core values and my mind and body. And that identity has shaped every part of my leadership, my character, the relationships, and who I am as a person. Number seven, gratitude improves your decision making. A few years ago, I had to choose between let's say, a contract that was a lot more high paying and one that was, let's say, less. But the one that was less reinforced my values and what I stood for. And the smaller one really lit me up, where the larger one just seemed to go against everything I believed. The me that was there panicked and said to myself, what do I do? Well, the old me would have grabbed the one that had the more money. But gratitude stepped in there for a moment in that quiet silence, and it helped me slow down. I thought about what truly mattered, purpose, alignment, and impact. And I felt grateful for the clarity to choose what felt right. That one decision opened up doors I never expected. Gratitude helped me see beyond fear. I think that's a very, very important thing to understand, that it did help me see beyond fear. And I think that's a very, very important thing. And I've noticed something wild when I started my mornings. The thing that I realized is expressing gratitude verbally or in writing somehow, new doors start to open throughout the day. Maybe it's a call from someone I haven't heard from, a new connection, or a fresh idea that clicks. It's like gratitude tunes my frequency to abundance. I attract better opportunities, not by chasing, but by appreciating. The more thankful I am, the more aligned I am, and able to find the me. Because sometimes that gets lost with things that happen in our world, right? I mean, I think our life can get lost. And I think it gets lost because of things that sometimes, let's say, it's just sometimes it just sort of like things go off the rails. And I think they go off the rails because of, who we are as a person, and maybe because of the outcome that we're expecting. Maybe that's the reason. So, gratitude builds consistency and character. There was a season in my life when things weren't going my way. It would have been easy to just lash out, complain, or cut corners. But I remembered who I wanted to be: someone steady, someone respectful, someone grateful. I stuck with my core, my daily gratitude routine, and chose to show up with integrity, even when no one was watching. That choice not only, let's say, preserved my reputation, it deepened my self trust. Gratitude keeps you anchored when life tries to shake you loose. And I think that's a very important thing. And our last point for today is gratitude helps you honor the process. It helps you honor the process. And so I want to tell you that it's all about who you are. And when I say who you are, I mean it's about the fact that you as a person are a certain way. Gratitude helps you honor the process, not just the result. I used to be laser focused on the outcomes, launch dates, revenue goals, completion check marks. But over time, I learned to love the process. I began to say thank you, not just when I succeeded, but when I stumbled, revised, learned, or evolved. The shift brought so much peace. It made the journey meaningful again. And I think that was a very important thing to me, is that it made the journey more meaningful to me. And so I know that it's something a lot of people don't understand. So I celebrate each step knowing that gratitude isn't about arriving, it's about appreciating the road I've been walking. Closing thoughts right now, I'd like to say, is incorporating these deeper gratitude practices doesn't require perfection, just presence. By making gratitude your mindset instead of a moment, you build emotional resilience, sharpen your decision, and align yourself with purpose. Gratitude is a daily innovation, but more of an invitation to see your life not as something to fix, but as something to celebrate. Start small, stay consistent. That's important. Stay consistent and watch how everything begins to shift from inside out. Do be sure to check out Believe Me Achieve, of course.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And, ladies and gentlemen, we covered a lot of things this week, but I think one of my favorite things out of this entire week is got to be gratitude. We talked about knowing your why. We talked about courage over comfort, because we got to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. The power of persistence, serving the lead, celebrating progress, gratitude in the journey, resetting and reflecting. And I think these are important things to understand. And if you truly want to embrace them, you'll get better at them, guys, every single day of your life. Don't get frustrated just because they're not going the way you want. Nothing ever goes the way you want the first time. That's why we learn and we become a better person. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you real soon, everyone.